Rachel and I work for an organization called Word Made Flesh, which is based out of Portland, Oregon. We're employed in the United States. Word Made Flesh exists in 10 countries around the world, and in each country we're working with people living in poverty. It looks a little bit different in each country. But in Moldova, we registered our local organization, which is called La Via, in 2011. Our vision is a transformed world in which each person is loved, valued, and empowered, and in which each person has equal opportunities to integrate into and to actively function in society, thus achieving his or her full potential. And when you look at the letters VIA in the Romanian language, which is the heart language of the majority of the people living in Moldova, those letters stand for the Romanian words for healing, integrity, and action, which are our main values. And then when you actually translate the entire phrase La Via from Romanian into English, it means to the vineyard. And we liked this phrase because it expresses movement, and we saw this as movement toward a place of fecundity or fruitfulness, a place of communion and celebration. This is our staff. We're currently 11 people from 4 countries. We're from the United States, Romania, Ukraine, and Moldova. And I wanted to point out the second lady standing on the left, from the left, is Natalia, who is our medical assistant, and your Rotary Club helped to pay for her salary for the past year, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Okay, some more about our activities. What do we do on a day-to-day basis? Our organization is located at a large boarding school in Moldova. This boarding school has a capacity for 800 children, and when I say boarding school, if you think of orphanage, that'll give you kind of a more realistic picture of what this institution is like. However, there are currently only 170 children living at this institution. So you might ask why in such a large institution that there are so few children living there. And you even saw in the statistics that Rachel presented that these numbers are falling of institutionalized children. Moldova currently has hopes of entering the European Union, and what is happening is that the European Union is putting pressure on Moldova to deinstitutionalize as many children as possible in order for Moldova to qualify to enter the EU. And so a lot of these children are being placed back into their families if they have families. Maybe there are foster families for them or other places where they're able to be placed. But what's happening is that these kids, there's not a lot of follow-up happening, and these kids are being placed back into places that maybe there was a good reason that they weren't there in the first place and that they were in the institution. We're talking about issues like alcoholism, abuse, domestic violence, poverty. And so our organization is asking the question, as we're forming relationships with these children and their families, is how do we make this transition back into the family as sustainable and healthy as possible? So what are we doing on a day-to-day basis? We're running an after-school program for the kids at this school. We have the entire second floor of a dormitory building that is now empty because there are so many fewer kids living there. The kids come to us on a daily basis, Monday through Thursday, for our after-school program. And our program consists of 4 main activities. Those are moral, spiritual, education, art, nature discovery, social skills. And the kids range in age from 2nd grade to 8th grade who come to our programs. In addition to those main activities, we have family visits. We're looking at building relationships with the kids and their families. We have 2 social workers on staff who are really focusing on these visits to the families. We're doing counseling, looking at art therapy, play therapy with the kids. A lot of them have suffered abuse. We're dealing with attachment disorder, behavioral disorders. And then we're also doing homework assistance, tutoring. We're pulling some of these kids out of the classroom in the morning or out of their supervised homework time in the afternoon and doing tutoring for kids who, for example, might be in 5th grade and don't know how to read or write. So really basic stuff that we're trying to help them get caught back up to where they need to be. Now Rachel's going to tell you a little bit about our advocacy program.